today we're diving into a topic that was a big part of my early parenting journey and is very close to my heart, and that is breastfeeding. I'm here to share my honest experience and tell you why I think breastfeeding is worth it. I think that's a question a lot of people juggle with and debate going into it when you're pregnant. Is it worth breastfeeding? Is it worth the stress and the learning a new thing? Because it's a completely new thing to you if it's your first baby. And is it worth the money saving? Is it worth the bonding? Is it worth what some people would consider the hassle? My answer for me is yes, it is worth it. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think it is worth it, but for you, it might not be worth it. That is okay, but I'm here for those who are on the fence and they're leaning towards breastfeeding and they need a little bit more encouragement. So if that's you, I'm here to encourage you. If you're not here to receive that encouragement, that's okay. If this is not for you, that's totally okay. So do what is best for you and for your baby. For me, is breastfeeding worth it? Yes. It's a resounding yes. Now let's get into why. My biggest reason, I don't want to say my biggest reason why I wanted to breastfeed, but probably one of the biggest reasons to breastfeed would be money savings. I like to save a buck, and not having to buy formula was fantastic. We also, with one of our children, it was right around the time of a formula shortage. That could have been very stressful, but instead I was breastfeeding and we were fine. We were totally fine. I had it covered and under control. I loved not having to spend money on formula. Just diapers and wipes monthly, that's a big expense. Then you get into daycare eventually. You're paying off your medical bills. Not having that monthly expensive formula was fabulous. The next very practical reason why I definitely prefer breastfeeding is no bottles. No washing bottles. If you talk to anybody who has a newborn, I feel like probably one of the most annoying tasks they deal with is washing bottles. I feel like people hate it. And you're just constantly doing it. There's bottle parts and pieces all over the kitchen. I've been to houses where there's like an empty bottle on every end table, coffee table, and they're just sitting there. And I'm like, ugh, like go rinse it out at least, because that milk is just caking in the bottom. I'm like, ugh, I can't do it. So not having to wash bottles was glorious. Not having to store bottles in the cabinets and just like going through that rotation of like, use it, wash it, put it away, use it, wash it, put it away, prep it for the next bottle or prep it for the nighttime feeding. Like also the diaper bag on outings. I just made sure I had my nursing cover. I was a nursing cover mama, and that's what I needed. I didn't need water, bottles, formula, pre-mixing, not pre-mixing. I just put them on me and we were good to go. I had my cover and I was comfortable with that, and I made it work in every situation. And if I wasn't comfortable in a situation, I would excuse myself and find a way to make myself comfortable. Now, I kind of mentioned nighttime. So nighttime on formula, even pumped breast milk, I will say, if you pump, you're still doing bottles. I am advocating mostly for direct nursing. Just saying, as far as making your life as easy as possible. But nighttime feedings, if you're doing bottles, whether it's formula or breast milk, you have to make those bottles, get them at the right temperature, all that in the middle of the night. It is 4 a.m. and you have a crying baby. They are going to wake up more and more the longer it takes you to meet their need. And for me, it was literally, depending if they were in my room or their room, I slept in one of their rooms, like however many feet I had to walk to get to that baby. We don't have a large house. I got to that baby ASAP, nursed them immediately. Like I was there, I was ready to go. I feel like that helped with nighttime feedings. We got our baby to go right back to sleep. I didn't dread nighttime feedings. Obviously, I was tired. I was sleep deprived in the beginning. And with a fresh newborn, when they didn't sleep through the night, it was rough. But once they got older, they still woke up for feedings, but it was just in and out. I literally was up for 20 minutes. I got up, I nursed them, gave them a quick burp, and pretty much put them right back down. They were good. I really felt like directly nursing my baby was an advantage for nighttime feedings. Okay, so for me, once I got past the initial stage of learning how to breastfeed my first baby, getting the latch down, getting kind of comfortable with it, it became easy for me. Now, I know this is not the case for everyone, but if you can get through that initial hump and get to the easy phase, it becomes a no-brainer. It's so simple once you get there. And like, I just, again, always had it with me, ready to go, right temperature. I didn't have to measure. I didn't have to say, are we on 4 ounces or should we up them up to 5? Do you think they're still hungry? If they were still hungry, I just put them on to nurse longer. Like your body adjusts for your baby. Your body kind of handles it for you. And as long as I saw my baby's weight going up and they were thriving, I knew we were good. I know people can act like breastfeeding is very complicated, and it can be, and it definitely is in the beginning. But once you get past that hump, it can be quite simple. If these practical breastfeeding tips are resonating with you, I just want to invite you to subscribe to my channel because I give a lot of practical parenting advice in general. That can be toddler stuff, it can be manners, it can be anything, but I don't just talk breastfeeding. Whatever topic I am talking about that day, I really try to keep it practical. Okay, back to breastfeeding. So with breastfeeding, there is always going to be challenges. Okay, and people are going to have different challenges. For some people, it's that initial latch, it's pain, it's different things like that. For me, my challenge, once I got through the initial, was just the commitment, because I am a person who likes to be alone. I am an introvert. I'm not a touchy-feely person, and just having that baby on you all the time nursing, it could get tiring. It really could, and I could get a little touched out. And I remember, I believe with my first, right around the 8-month mark, I told my husband, I was like, I just want a break. Like, I want 3 days off of breastfeeding. I want to go on a 3-day vacation. And that's not really possible with breastfeeding, because if you want to do that, I did not want to quit, just to be clear. You would have to pump, and pumping is not a vacation. That wasn't going to be a vacation for me. And on top of that, my baby got to the point where they would not take a bottle. That's a whole nother story and situation. But because I directly nursed, they wouldn't take a bottle. So even if I wanted a break, I literally couldn't take a break. Emotionally, commitment-wise, that was a very, very heavy burden. Now it was a blessing to be able to nourish and feed my baby, but it also was a heavy commitment at times. So I would say that was my biggest challenge that I dealt with, was around that 8th month mark. Honestly, with both of them, it just started setting in where I was tired. And I needed a day off. And you really just don't get a day off. So that could be kind of tough. And just for clarity, both my kids made it right around the 15 month mark. And at that point I was done, and I chose to wrap it up, not them. But again, that's another story as well. So basically for me, taking a break would have been the biggest challenge that I dealt with. And honestly, I think that's anything with parenting. Even if you're not going to breastfeed, sometimes you just want a day off as a parent. And even if you send your kids to somebody else, kind of like pumping, you're still a parent. And if they get a boo-boo or something happens, you're still going to get called by that babysitter, and it still is on you, and you think about them, you worry about them, you love them, you don't get to turn it off. So I think that's just a challenge of being a parent. And for me, it was just being a breastfeeding parent. Would I do it again? So if I got pregnant today with a third child, I 100% would breastfeed. There were challenges, there were benefits, there were ups, and there were downs, but overall, I felt like it was worth it. I did. I felt like the bonding, the money saving, the convenience for me was worth the effort and the commitment of breastfeeding. I hope some of these thoughts resonate with you and maybe will encourage you if you're on the fence about breastfeeding. I do want to say, though, everybody's journey is very unique and different. And if breastfeeding does not work out for you for whatever reason, that is okay. All right? It's okay. If you did your best, you did your best. If you didn't do your best and you chose to quit, that's okay too. It doesn't matter how long you go, how much effort you put into it. It's up to you what you do, and that is okay. But if you want this, I want to encourage you. And if you're not sure breastfeeding is worth it, I can say for me, 2 babies later, it was worth it for me, and I would do it again. Now, when it comes to breastfeeding, I can go into so much more detail and specifics. It's a topic that you can tell I am passionate about. If you are interested in breastfeeding and don't know where to start, you're obviously here, but coming up on the screen is going to be another video, and it is all about breastfeeding supplies, which ones I think you need, which ones I think you can skip. So if you want to check that video out, again, it should be coming up on the screen. If it is not, it is linked in the description, and hopefully that can set you on the right track as far as getting prepared for breastfeeding. If you've got any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave me a comment, and I hope to see you back here for the next video. Have a great day.